How you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Everything is good. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, great.
All right. Appreciate you checking in with the Living Room podcast.
Hey.
Haven't seen you in a very long time. I look
Well,
on
I don't
YouTube.
know why you ain't been checking for me.
Nah, it's not even that. You know what? What brought me to the idea of it all is they have stories coming out about making the band coming back. And that's when I went and was like, man, let me go watch these old episodes. I went all the way from the beginning. And then traveled along with Day 26 and Danity Kane, and that's what brought me here to you.
Well,
So
you've missed a whole lot,
I
I will
did,
say.
but I have checked. I'm just gonna let you know I have checked into your stuff because I remember seeing you on the Monique show. I remember you coming out with a joint with Rick Ross and all that. So I'm familiar now. I do my
Okay.
homework.
Okay. Well, my most current project, I have a single that was just released during this, quarantine COVID times called Call It Quits. And that is the single that we are pushing right now. I just shot the visual because the world just opened up and we could start doing stuff like that.
Right,
So the single came out on 4/20/2020.
right.
And there's been a really great response to it. So you need to catch up with that. And then just shot the video for it. I shot it in Atlanta, which I was a little bit scared because their COVID numbers was crazy. But I left New York, went down to Atlanta to shoot all these videos for my upcoming project, which is called My Favorite Color. And you can also find me online streaming presently. You can binge watch me on the series Stuck With You, which is on UMC TV.
Yeah.
And
You
that's a whole
have
bunch of relationship drama, all the entanglement, love lessons you want. So check me
so
out in that. Yeah.
I'm familiar with the show now.
But you
Nadine
ain't watch it
Ellis,
though. You ain't watch
Nadine
it.
Ellis, and all of that. I know about it.
You ain't watch it though.
I do want to talk to you about your current stuff, but
Okay.
can we take a blast to the past? Can I rap with you about that?
I really rather stay in the present and in going into the future. The past is the past. So I push forward. That's what I like to do.
Nothing wrong with that. All right. So talking about now, you've had your label Wood Grain Entertainment. You've had it going for a minute now. I remember
Yeah.
when you first presented it on the Monique show on BET is when you let the world know. And
Yeah.
you've been doing your music thing and everything. How do you feel about Diddy bringing back and making a band? Would you like to be even like a guest on there to give game to the younger ones coming into that situation?
No, I wouldn't. That's just not a really good time in my life. So I just try to keep the past in the past. And I just say, if anybody chooses to go down that road, then they should really know their reasons for wanting to do it. Have their game plan, have their team, have their, advisors and their lawyers and all that stuff. Like, really go in with their agenda fixed because the other side has their agenda. So you can't go in there thinking that they're going to like care about you or your talent or your dreams or anything like that. And that's what I found out. So I would just say, if anybody is going to do that, get your team, get your circle tight, and have your agenda together. I mean, things are going to change because we can't control anything, but as long as you have a plan and you have knowledge of self and self-worth, you'll be able to navigate through those waters with those sharks.
That's interesting to hear because when we see it all on TV unfolds, it's sort of like we don't know what deep down goes on behind the scenes.
Of
And
course, you wouldn't know. Why would they show you that?
exactly. And so when we see you guys had platinum albums, you guys have these number one singles and everything. To hear this, it is like wow, it makes people want to do a deeper dig and what was really the issue. With fast forward and now into the present, what is the difference between you having a machine behind you and you doing this all on your own now?
That is you. Well, I didn't have a machine behind me. I was a product for a machine. So doing it independently, I'm in control of my own destiny, and it is hard because you are working against the machine. You
Right.
are outside of the machine working against it. It is a David and Goliath type of, situation, but I was able to take lessons learned, take experiences, and decide how I wanted to do it on my own terms and do it better, and have it really represent what I want people to know about me. So doing stuff with Monique, I was in her independent film, which was, critically acclaimed, lots of critics choices and film festivals and everything. The film is called Blackbird. And um it was ironic because I did the Monique show on BET, and then we crossed paths like 3 years later. And she was just like, I mean, I don't know if she was in on the casting choices or not, but I went through my agent, all the things that you do as an actor, the auditions, the callbacks, the putting yourself on video and everything. And so I got the part. I was so happy about it because I am an actress and I did train in theater. And it's not like, oh, I'm a recording artist, I want to try acting. It's like, no, this is how I grew up, this is what I trained in. And so being able to be in a film that wasn't the norm, it wasn't the kind of role that people would have expected me to be in, and the kind of story that people would expect to see me in. And I get on set, and the first day I just came to see the other actors work. And she was in her mode. Like, it was a very like dramatic scene that they were doing, but I was just watching on the sideline. And they called cut for a break. And she came out of it, and then she saw me, and she just warmed up. She was just like, oh, it's so good to see you, sister. It's so good. You know how she talks.
Yeah, just like that.
So I was just like, oh wow, that's so great that, she remembered me, and she she was rooting for me. And there was a lot of people that I found out were rooting for me, people in the music industry behind the scenes, a lot of women in positions that people don't know the the major roles that they've played in a lot of the movements in the industry. I was able to come across them and get, some heart to hearts and some really good advice. And they really inspired me and pushed me and challenged me. So they were like, what are you waiting for? Why are you waiting for permission? You could do this. There's so many more resources at your disposal than there was at my time. I even had a heart to heart with Janet Jackson, which came out the blue. I was just happy to be in her presence. Her choreographer, who actually worked with Danity Kane, we stayed in touch. And Janet Jackson was on tour. He invited me out to their little after party. It was very exclusive, just the friends and the dancers and the people who hang out with them. So I was just like, happy to be here. And I sat down, and she turned to me and she went in, and I was like, and she was just like, you know what? They can't take nothing from you. You have no excuse. You better keep going. And I was just like, yes, Miss Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, um, and I won't say that everything just opened up automatically, because you still have to go through all of these, little obstacle courses and Hunger Games type challenges sometimes. And I've actually written songs about it in little clever ways, what it's like. And now we have a lot of people coming out of the woodwork with these Me Too movement and, allegations. And it's like, this stuff is real. This behind the scenes stuff is real. And the way that the industry is cutthroat and doggy dog and, very, what's the word? Male chauvinistic and all those things. It's like, this stuff is real, y'all. So you gotta have your big girl panties on and have your spirituality in check, and have all, you gotta really know who you are to push through, to remember why you're doing it in the first place, and know what you want to put out into the world, and know that you have a purpose and you have a message and you have a gift. So that's, if that answers your question.
Yeah,
I know
most
I went
definitely.
around,
No, no,
around.
no. You was definitely good. You dropping gems right now. I do, you know, in the beginning of this, with me even speaking to you, there's a common misconception with people that don't see people directly in the limelight. Every year you have some it people that just, you can't stop seeing their faces. And people think when you take a step back and you start venturing into other endeavors that you're just done for. And that's not the case with you, obviously. Before
Right.
making a band, you're educated. You went to NYU. You did your dancing thing. You and your sister. Like you guys were on the way to be destined for success prior to Bad Boy, if anything. So I understand that. But moving forward until today, how does it make you feel when people are looking at it like, damn, we haven't seen her since making a band. What's going on with them? They whatever now. Does that make you feel any type of way? Because you were right there, 2 platinum album roots and everything, and people are not seeing you in the forefront of face unless they're directly checking for your stuff. How does that make you feel with how the industry does that?
Well, I mean, I understand it. I don't like it because it is me, you know what I mean? But then I have to think for myself, like when I was in love with, let's say, the Fugees and Lauryn Hill, you know what I'm saying? Or um, I'm trying to think of some other people, or like Missy Elliott, or even, Outkast, or people like that. And it's like, oh, they can put an album out in, however many years, 10 years or whatever. If you really love, and that's when you find out that this is a very fickle
Yes.
business. This is a very fickle field, you know what I mean? And you know it's kind of like I watched, I don't know if you, because I'm a musical theater kid. And so I watch all the musical theater productions. So there was a production of Jesus Christ Superstar that they did on NBC with John Legend and Sarah Bareilles, and it was broadcasted on Easter Sunday. So I was able to actually go to the live taping of it because I know some of the creators and dancers and things like that. So they invited me to their dress rehearsal and seeing it up close. Now I did Jesus Christ Superstar, and I'm taking a long road to get to the point of the story, but so forgive me for that.
Give me the
But so
story.
I
I'm here.
did Jesus Christ Superstar when I was in high school, in performing arts high school. And I didn't even understand it then the way I understood it now, having gone through what I've gone through, and then looking at the story about the figure of Jesus Christ and this Jesus Christ Superstar. They treated it like a rock concert. That's the way they presented it in this production on NBC. So it was like, it just reminded me of the industry, how people doubted him, they questioned him, then they loved him and they praised him, and they wanted to sleep at his feet and hung off of every word. Then you had some haters. Then you had people questioning his relationships. Then you had the establishment, the Pharisees, being like, yo, he's getting too powerful. We gotta take him down. Then they created a whole political campaign against him. Then the people wanted to see him bleed. They wanted to see him die. They didn't want to just see him taken down and prosecuted. They wanted him to bleed. They wanted blood. They were thirsty for it. They were calling for his crucifixion. Crucify him, crucify him. It was like, man, last week y'all was waving palms at my feet on Palm Sunday. This week y'all yelling crucify me. You know what I'm saying? And then when he was dead, they were sad. Then they wanted to put R.I.P. Jesus, and you know what I'm saying. Then they were sad about it, and I was like, this is like the same thing that y'all be doing with these celebrities. You know what I'm saying? So I saw it like that. I mean, it affected me that way in watching it this time. So yeah, I think it's crazy. They don't look at this as like, this is our passion, this is our job. A lot of us, and unfortunately, you see the people who, like, the recent death of Naya Rivera, or other people that we've seen in the limelight, the even Kanye West right now, or the Amy Winehouses, or Kurt Cobain's, or Britney Spears, or Dave Chappelle, or you know what I mean? And it's like, the way these campaigns, it's like they love you, then they love to hate you, then they love to see you down, then they want to see you get built back up, and then everyone's going to praise you again. And it's just like, this is a real life career. It's a, like Nipsey Hussle said, it's a marathon. It's not a race. This is a lifelong career. And yes, you may have some hot points, but you do this every day. Like, I don't come to some of y'all's job and be like, you fell off. You ain't star employee of the month at IBM. What you doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I ain't coming into Target talking about why ain't you at the register no more? You doing stock in the back. It's a career. You know what I'm saying? We take different we take different things, and as long as you're using your gift, it's not like, oh, you just had a song and that's the only thing you can do. There's so many ways you can teach, you can write for other people, and I'm just finding all the ways that I can use what I do. You know what I mean?
We always see that you stay true to the art, and that's the thing. You're more than just singing. You're a triple, probably like quadruple threat when you look at everything. When it's all said and done, you have these multiple talents, and it feels like we got to see that more after making a band. You know, because we got to see you got talent in acting. You still have the dancing spirit. You still it's so much that you are tied to, that I just wish that was more propelled into the limelight, more so than always hearing about what's the new drama with the members of Danity Kane and everything like that. It kind of sometimes will overshadow what's more important, and that's the art at the end of the day. But we know drama sells over anything, most likely how it's going right now.
Well, that's why that's one of the silver linings. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so a lot of people were introduced to me through making the band. So great. That's great. If you like that, you're going to love this. And that's how I approach it. Like, if they gave you the whole story plot line of Power in the first episode, you wouldn't have watched it for 6 years. Right. You know what I'm saying? If we saw the whole plot line of the Avengers in the first movie, we wouldn't have kept coming back to the theater. So I look at it as a sequel, a saga, another chapter to keep y'all coming back and finding out something new. There's always something new, and I'm glad that I have more to show people, and I'm glad that people are taking notice and that they're surprised. Like, every now and then it's like, well, I was always singing and I was always dancing and I was always acting. Unfortunately, I didn't have control of the image and what was being put out there, but I always did this. It is a little disheartening sometimes when people doubt me and think that I didn't know anything, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to do something, or that Puff gave me this talent or gave me this passion or gave me my name even, So, but then it's just like, well, let me tell you the story of how I came up with the name D.Woods. I was sitting in my dorm room at New York University, that I was one of many that was chosen once again to be a part of a freshman class, a very selective program. And I was doing a lot of stuff around the city in New York. I was auditioning for everything. I was interning everywhere. Like the people at Power 105.1, like the Breakfast Club, whenever I went up there, they would joke with me because they knew I was an intern up there. So okay. They knew me from then.
Teach me something new. I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, they knew me from back then. And then, just the other day, somebody tagged me in something, a Jay-Z video. And they were like, I was today years old when I found out that D.Woods was in this Change Clothes video. And I was like, yeah, that was my first video. Go back and look now. Yep, I'm in there.
I'm gonna go back and peep now.
The Change Clothes video, that was my first video. And I was like in between classes trying to go to this video shoot, and had full face makeup. It was a 16-hour shoot. And I was excited, and I was there with everybody. And then I was like, oh, I got to get to class. I hope they wrap in time. I got to get to my 9 a.m. class. You know what I'm saying? So all those little things, all those little tidbits. And it's like, I haven't changed, but, the public's persona will change or will be fickle or will fall off or want to pick a favorite or want to pit somebody against somebody. And it's like, I can't control none of that. All I can control is what I do.
Correct. Correct. You know, and speaking about that, how is your relationship with the other remaining members of Danity Kane? Is there a relationship at all?
No.
Got it. You went on. It was like, I'm doing my thing and I'm staying doing my thing. That's cool. No bad blood or anything like that. It is what it is. And sometimes it's better to work alone. I mean, truly isn't nobody ever alone. There's people that plays a role in the teams and everything, but you're not with the group.
Yeah. Like I just finished the revival of the critically acclaimed, world renowned For Colored Girls Who've Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Was Enough. And if anybody knows about that play, they know that is like some real subject matters. And so we did the 40th year anniversary revival on Off Broadway last fall, like between September and December of 2019. We was supposed to open on Broadway this summer, but hopefully the plans will pick back up whenever Broadway opens back up or whatever. But that was a cast of 8 women. I ain't know none of them. You know what I'm saying? When I started. And then also it was an all female women of color company: director, choreographer, music director, lighting designer, set designer, costume designer, stage manager. And it was a beautiful experience. So you can't just, I would never say, oh, sometimes you just gotta do stuff by yourself, because you're just gonna be put in different situations with different groups of people. And I hope that I get to work with those ladies again, because we really bonded over 5 months, and we really shared some beautiful moments on stage together. And I really appreciate everyone's talent in that group of people, and they taught me things. I hope I taught them things. We were inspired by each other. So even the audience members, the different audiences that we had, like, that was a give and take too, because every performance was different depending on the energy we got from the audience. So I would never say that, oh, sometimes you just gotta do stuff by yourself. Sometimes you do gotta go alone. You gotta walk alone. But in that walk, you'll walk along with people who are really like-minded and kindred spirits, or equally yoked, or all the different terms that people say. Yeah.
The thing, it just the optics of everything is interesting, because we look at that, we look at where you are now, and it's kind of it always brings people to the questions of, is this a bad boy curse, as far as like what happens when they're currently there and what happens with doing it further on. Did that whole situation hinder you in any way after Bad Boy?
If I had let it, it would have. If I believed in curses, if I believed in that bad energy, if I accepted the terms of some people, wanting to stay away from me, and some people not wanting to get on Puff's bad side, so they won't want to work with me. So I was like, I'll work with somebody else. That's cool. You ain't gonna answer my email. You ain't gonna answer my phone call. When you see me, you all dapping me up and tell me how much you want to see me win, but you won't really actually put your money where your mouth is and do things. That's cool, because it just taught me to go somewhere else. All you need is one yes. You know what I'm saying? And so I just kept going till I found people, rock with people who want to rock with me. Or I found out that I had a skill that I never would have activated had I always relied on somebody else. So I taught myself how to produce and direct my own music videos. I taught myself how to put my own music out and establish my own label. I taught myself how to broker a distribution deal. I taught myself how to creatively direct a tour. You know what I mean? How to start a nonprofit mentorship organization for kids. like, these are all these things that I wouldn't have done if somebody was just saying yes to me all the time. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like you said, you got to walk alone. You got to do it by yourself. There's I don't know if it's a proverb or I don't know, a parable. I don't know. One of them little like moral of the story is. So I'm gonna tell you this, okay? You listening? So um I'm in like the community room of my apartment building, and there's somebody in there trying to do work. So so anyway, um there was a cocoon, right? A cocoon, and a lady is watching a butterfly trying to get out of the cocoon, and she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before, this is so cool. And she's watching the butterfly pick his way out of the cocoon, and she's like, oh wow, he looks like he's having trouble, because the butterfly was like struggling. He pecked a little hole, he was trying to push his face through and nudge his way out, and he was having a hard time. So she was like, you know what, I'm gonna help him out. She went and got some scissors, and she snipped away at the opening of the cocoon. So the butterfly got out easily, and then she was sitting there waiting to watch the butterfly like spread his wings and take flight. But what she didn't realize is the butterfly's wings was all wilted and like weak, but his body was like swollen and puffy. She didn't know the butterfly needed to struggle and push his way through the small opening so that the fluid in his body would push out and extend his wings. So with her thinking she was helping him, she actually was his demise, because now the butterfly could not fly, he could not move, he could not do what butterflies do to like feed themselves. He basically like shriveled up and died. So that's the moral of the story. Sometimes you gotta struggle.
But like what's interesting about it all though is like it couldn't have been all bad in the industry. What did you take from it as far as positives more so than anything?
Well, if you heard anything I said, I named a whole bunch of positive stuff.
But I'm saying
I named a whole bunch of positive things.
As far as your experience with with being with Diddy and everything, is there anything you took from that are jewels for today? Aside from stuff you learned, we're not going to call it negative. We're going to call it learning lessons. What did you take from that situation that you could be able to apply today? You have a label. Do you go about pursuing having artists under the label and taking what you learned from that situation into what you have now?
Well, I already answered that question. I said I
No, as
learned a
far as
lot
having
of
artists.
things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I learned a lot of things of how I would want to do it, how I would want to do it better, how I wouldn't want to do it the way that it was done to me. Yeah, that's that's what I said that a little
Oh,
bit
because
earlier.
like I look into the label and everything, and I'm like, okay, it's been established for some time. We see you doing your music, and now you know what not to do. Is there anybody you took under your wing that you want to work with as an artist?
Yes, yes. There are people that I work with that I collaborate with. And if you're wondering, oh, or when you gonna put somebody out? Is that your question?
My
When you
question
gonna
is,
put another artist out?
have you been working with taking artists under your wing and teaching them what you have learned throughout the time and developing them for them to be their own artists as well?
Well, yeah, there's people who I have collaborated with, who I work with. Like I said, I established a whole mentorship program for high school kids called Foolish Dreamer, and they're off doing their different paths of greatness. The, the initial group of kids that I started with, but I like to make sure that I'm where I want to be, so that I can give the proper attention. If I was to take somebody on full time and be like a full, fully responsible for someone's career, I would never want to do that and then be trying to juggle with getting my career up. So the resources that I have, I got to split between me and them. And of course, I'm gonna put me first. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just human nature. And I think that's what you see a lot of times with disgruntled, you know, artists on a artist established label, you know. And when you have those things, there's always a conflict of interest. But I mean, you see it happen. Sometimes people do it successfully, and sometimes it's only successful for a certain amount of time. I knew I wanted to get myself to a certain place, so I'll do things in the way that I feel that it's safe for both me and that person, if that answers your question. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, that makes more sense than ever. Um, with looking at everything, the COVID affecting everything, has it been able to strengthen your creativity when it comes to future endeavors? I know for me, I looked at it as a positive. I was able to take this time off with being affected by COVID, and it really had me getting my creative bag. Has it been the same for you?
Yeah, actually, that's why I released this single, Call It Quits, during COVID, because I was like, you know what? There's no time like the present. And it helped me to, you know, slow down and really like focus in on me and really hone in on some of the ideas that I kind of was procrastinating because I was, you know, involved in so many other things, chase chasing other projects. So there were things and proposals and treatments and scripts and, you know, unfinished songs and concepts like that I was able to tap into, hone into. So now that things are kind of opening up, I'm able to actually act out and execute some of those plans. And you guys will be seeing them very soon.
Got it. Be looking forward to it. As far as the acting, is there any besides the Four Color Girls play and your show on UMC? Is there any further projects you could put a bug in their ear for that we could look out as far as in the acting world?
Well, we just announced that Stuck With You will have a season 2. So I'm really happy about that. So you guys can look out for that. It probably won't be until spring of 2021 when it's airing, because everybody has to be really careful about opening their productions back up and having lots of people on set, because it's not just the 2 people that you see on screen. You have like at least 100 people on set at a time. You have costume designers, makeup, crew, camera, directors, assistant directors, craft service people. I mean, it's a lot of people who are involved. So making sure that we're safe is the first priority. And but we did get the green light, so that's the good part.
Yes,
And
definitely.
anything other than that, I really can't speak on yet. I can't
Ain't letting no
talk
cats
about
out the bags right now. I see. Okay, I dig it.
it yet.
It was a pleasure talking to you. I didn't want to double down on asking you about past things. It is always good to be able to have those stories sometime, but I didn't want to overstep the boundary of asking you the questions. You didn't want to go back to it. So thank you for letting me know that boundary was set on that. You didn't want to go back and you want to focus on the future, because right now that's really what matters. In your future endeavor. So I appreciate you sitting down and taking the time to talk with me. And just tell the people again how they can find you on social media, or anything that how they connect with you, your fans.
Yes, everybody follow me on all of the social media platforms. It's the same, like my name right here at the bottom of the screen, your girl D.Woods, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. I got off of Snapchat because it was
Yeah,
thirsty. It was thirst
everything.
traps on there. So
Mm-hmm.
um, definitely check out the singles. Call It Quits. You can find it on all the platforms, the Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify. It's also on TikTok too. You know what I'm saying? What are all the other ones? It's there. And then my official website is www.missdwoods.com. And also check me out on umc.tv, Stuck With You, the series. If you're looking for something to binge watch, you can watch the whole season. It's up there, season 1, and you will be ready for season 2. And then just get ready for my favorite color this hopefully this fall. I don't have a date. I don't want to lie to you, but it's coming. The project.
Question. You said you interned with Power 105. Did you want to pursue a career within radio?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I took that internship because I knew I wanted my music on the radio. So I was like, I should just go work at the radio station and figure it all out. I mean, I was working in promotions because that was like the easiest like way in for me, and I already knew somebody. See, I was playing chess. Y'all ain't even ready for the kind of chess moves I was making at 18 years old. But like I was one of my friends at NYU, she had the internship, and so I was like, how can I get an internship? And then we was up in there, and then I was taking meetings with the program director. I was sitting in on the sales meetings. I was getting chummy with all the DJs. I was volunteering for like extra events so I could go to it, and I was just really like soaking it all in. So
Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Cause I just had that came to me real fast. It was like you intern up there. I was like, you was trying to get in the radio and everything. So no,
I mean, sometimes, but this is also what I used to tell my foolish dreamers. That's the mentorship program, my foolish dreamers. I was like, sometimes you just got to expose yourself to stuff because you never know where it's going to lead you. And one thing, you can't just be like, I'm just trying to get in. I want to be, top, radio host. So that's the only job that I'm going to apply for. Like, no, you will learn something working in the mailroom. You will learn something carrying the crates of whatever DJ when they go into the event. I ended up, it's loud out there. Brooklyn. So so you will learn something like another little fun tidbit story. So while I was interning at Power 105, I had volunteered for an extra event to go to, and I'm carrying all the equipment, and none of this stuff is glamorous and whatever. Them crates was heavy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like folding t-shirts to pass out to the crowd, like passing out all the little postcards that don't nobody want to take on the street, and they slap them down and they walk on and they're like rude to you or whatever. It's like I did all of that stuff. And while I was doing that, we were in the parking lot, and guess who I saw in the parking lot?
Who was that?
Spike Lee.
Out of all people, Spike. Spike.
So you know what I did? I was like, yo, I gotta say something to Spike Lee. And my friend who was with me, she was like, go ahead, I'll hold the stuff. So I go over there, and I don't know what I said to him. I ran down my life story, the fact that I was an NYU student, and my name is, and he was just looking at me like, okay, somebody will take your information and get back to you. And I'm just thinking like, I thought this was gonna be my chance. And so his assistant or intern or whatever came to me with the little paper, the paper board clip, whatever thing, and she was about to write down my information. But see, I was ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I had made me some business cards on vistaprint.com, and I hit her with the business card, bam. And she was like, oh, she was impressed. And she was like, Spike, she got a business card. So he turned around, he asked me again, what's your name again? And I told him the whole life story one more time. And he said the same thing. Somebody will get back to you. I was like, dang, I thought this was going to be my Holly Berry moment. You know what I mean? But somebody actually did call me, and I started interning for guess who? Spike Lee, 40 Acres and a Mule. And I got me some
backstories.
I got me some credits too on the movie She Hate Me, which was starring Kerry Washington and Anthony Mackie. I was a casting intern assistant. You could see the credit. It rolls on up. And I was like, yeah, I didn't even think that was going to give me no credit. I was just getting people coffee and making, copies in the copy machine and calling people to like have them come in and audition. And I was using all that experience to like show me what I needed to know when I was going into audition, how I needed my headshots to look and how fast I actually needed to respond to people when they calling me. I was soaking it all in, and I got everybody's information and numbers. And yes, anytime they needed an extra on set, I was me, and I was standing in the background walking back and forth. And and then that's what led me to get casted for the Jay-Z video.
Okay. You
see how that works?
You got jewels
see how
dropping
that
right
work?
now.
I was just in the right place at the right time, but not just being in the right place and in the right time. I was ready for when the opportunity presented itself to me, and I was open. I wasn't like, I don't want to do that. I'm better than that. I was just like, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and it snowballed into something else. So that's it.
I appreciate it. I'm stopping the recording.